Mis queridos relojeros, bienvenidos una vez más. Esto es Klokker, yo soy H. Tolini. No olvides suscribirte y darle clic a la notificación para que te lleguen nuestros videos semanales. Esta semana estamos muy contentos porque tuvimos, déjame lo digo de esta manera, la suerte de que Berger nos diera la oportunidad de entrevistar a a alguien del medio relojero desde un punto de vista de ventas. Nicholas Hofmann, él es el director internacional de ventas de una marca que se llama Moser Cie. Así es que acompáñame a revisar esta entrevista. Si eres un apasionado relojero, normalmente esto en canales de habla hispana y normalmente en México no sucede. Así es que aprovecha lo que nos va a decir. Creo que es bien importante que también estemos sensibles en puntos de vista en los que no nada más hablemos de la máquina, el movimiento y el terminado y estas cosas, ¿no? También es muy interesante conocer la parte que está detrás del mundo de la relojería. Así es que sin más ni menos, acompáñame a ver esta entrevista. Yo soy H. Tolini y vamos para allá. Una de las principales preguntas que evidentemente teníamos que hacer tiene relación a cómo lograron sobrevivir a la pandemia. Muchas compañías en el mundo no lo lograron, México no fue la excepción y evidentemente en el mundo de la relojería tampoco fue la excepción. Y esto fue lo que nos contestó.
We've been joking in the company where, everybody, it's a crisis and things like, guys, we've been in crisis for day one.
Exactly.
So we know what it takes, we know that it's difficult, you need to be creative, you need to think out of the box, you need to fight. And unfortunately, not all the brands knew how to. Everything was just rolling.
Yes. And
if there's one little grain of sand that comes into the mechanism, then everything stops.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then to reinvent and especially the big groups, which are like big tankers, then you have to adapt. That's really the advantage of small speedboats, which can
maneuver quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that a lot of brands still have like the old school thinking, right? Yeah. And it was really hard for them to adapt to everything that was happening.
It's probably reshuffled at all levels, at brand level, at retailer level, and also clients. I think clients have maybe had more time to understand what. Maybe if you like watches and you're at home, maybe you had more time as well to be educated. You see more people on Instagram, you see more people just getting more acquainted with watches and seeing. I see the rise of independent brands has been crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And some of the bigger brands have been suffering. You really have the big three brands which are doing very well, and then you've got a big gap of kind of trying to reinvent themselves or trying to find where they need to go.
Yeah. Do you know something that's really funny that happens in Mexico? You know that Mexico is a kind of dangerous city. So people, because we were locked in our house, we were able to enjoy, or at least I was, to enjoy my watches more because I could use them freely.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried if someone saw my watch, So it was amazing. And as you say, the digital content was growing really, really fast because people wanted to be entertained. They wanted to be, they were searching for something different, and that's where independent brands come.
Yeah.
They bring something different. They bring innovation, and I think they also bring a lot of price value.
Yeah.
And people really appreciate that.
I think, you're right. I think there's been a lot of brands which have been positioning some generic movements
yes,
very highly, and not only saying that they manufacture, but positioning them at above what it really is, and it's to finance the celebrity, the marketing, the sports person. And the client, I think today he's less attracted by that kind of marketing and more about what is in it.
Exactly.
I want to buy substance. I want to buy an authentic. If they say it's manufactured, I want it to be manufactured,
exactly.
And I want to. If it's not manufactured, then I want to pay the price of a non-manufactured movement. But I think this information has drastically changed, and there you see the shift?
Well, at the end, also the market is changing, right?
Yeah.
Because all the content that we have in social media, it's helping to know more about watches in a very new collectors or something like that.
Por si lo notaste, MiYorchStyle estuvo con nosotros en la entrevista. Entonces, de alguna manera, pues la percepción de un coleccionista, de alguien que realmente entiende el mundo apasionado de los relojes, pues da una mirada también de saber qué preguntar a una personalidad del mundo de la industria relojera como es esta situación que estuvimos él y yo. Entonces, él platicaba o preguntaba porque al final del día esta pandemia también nos regaló que pudiéramos apreciar las piezas relojeras de una forma distinta. ¿Por qué? Porque las estabas apreciando desde una manera en la que pues, atesorabas en tu casa cosas que normalmente utilizabas para vestir o para salir o para ir a reuniones o fiestas o lo que sea, cosa que muchos de los meses pasados pues no se podían dar de forma como tan normal. Ahorita estamos más o menos regresando a la normalidad, pero creo que estoy muy de acuerdo con lo que contestó Nicolás.
What is the specific characteristic that defines the brand above other brands?
For
Moser,
Yes.
I think it's a combination of several aspects. I think it's the fact that we're family run. I think family run business has a different philosophy, has a different way of conducting the business. We're here for the long run, and you're not assessed on a quarterly basis. And if you don't prove to be successful, then you might be thanked and dismissed.
Yes.
So I think that's where the Melon family were very, very good at process of step by step. Not saying that we need to be patient. Not saying that we have time, but it's really doing step by step in order to get where we are, and take, once again, being here for the long run. And I think that clients, they appreciate, because then you can do it in a more organic way, and you have a guideline, you have a direction which is the same over the years. They can be an evolution, but it's not necessarily, oh no, we need a new product for the Chinese market. Oh, we need a new product for the Japanese market or for the Mexican market. No, we consider all the markets, I would say, the same, and you are a Moser client whether you're in Mexico or in Japan or in Europe. Then I think what is different as well is just simply the manufacturing aspects. Is that we are a true manufacturer. We make everything in the movement in-house, from the main plate, the bridges, and most importantly, even the escapement. So the hairspring, the balance wheel, even the little screws on the balance wheel are made in-house. We make them for ourselves, but we also made them for about 20 other watch brands. Some small independent brands like MBNF. It's a few hundred pieces per year. But our total production of hairsprings this year is going to be probably over 250,000 hairsprings.
Wow.
Moser, we're around 1,500 watches a year. So you've got a lot of big brands that are buying our hairsprings. That's something which we're proud of, and I think that clients also appreciate the fact that Moser is one of the few brands that can make probably one of the most important elements in the watch, which is the heart. It's the tic-tac of the watch, and that gives the rhythm to the caliber and to the watch.
Esta es una pregunta que a mí me encanta hacer. Si pudieras explicar en muy pocas palabras cómo es tu marca o cómo describirías tu marca, ¿cuáles serían? La neta es que la mayoría de la gente siempre es como de, tan pocas palabras es imposible, no se puede. Pero de alguna manera pues, tratamos como de siempre de generar esta disrupción de pensamiento en donde nos dijeran, a ver, no, sí se puede, o sea, échale. ¿De qué se tratará en el caso de Moser?
If you need to explain in a little few words about your brand, which one you select?
In a few words, it's difficult, but I think it's a combination. We like to say that it's a combination of really three elements. I just talked about the family aspect. I think what is interesting is that we do have a strong heritage. That is, I think we're very proud. I mean, the heritage collection here is another proof of the heritage that the brand has. It was initially established in 1828. We've got a museum. We've got all the pocket watches. We've got great archives. We've got great history. But we're not promoting it in a way of, for example, H. Moser since 1828. We're more taking those values, and today we like to consider ourselves more like a startup company, more like, it's a fresh ideas, thinking out of the box, and having this entrepreneurial spirit, using maybe the values of who Heinrich Moser was, and adapting it to a modern world. The watches themselves, I think it's that bridge between his horlogerie classical watches in a way, but with a twist, with whether it's the colors, whether it's the design, whether you take the streamline, it's a very new kind of design, and trying always to push boundaries, thinking of new materials, whether it's the Vanta Black, for example, so new technology as well in the dial, and really, I would say, pushing the boundaries in order to come up with something new and to surprise clients.
Okay. In the case of the customers, which model or which line do you think it's the more accurate for them?
I think we're fortunate enough to have I would say, strong representation of 4 pillars. We have the Endeavor collection, which is the first collection, which has probably the most references. It goes from a centiseconds all the way to a minute repeater. It's that more traditional classical touch, but once again with this twist, with the sexiness. Then we have the Pioneer collection, which is a more versatile, sportier. It also attracts a younger client. It's a different price point as well. The Heritage collection, which you see here, which also appeals to a certain type of client. And then the Streamliner. The Streamliner has definitely been a very strong magnet. It's been an amazing success ever since we launched it in January 2020 with the first chronograph. Then since then we launched the Matrix Green. That was in August 2020, and just about 6 weeks ago, end of August, we launched the Perpetual Calendar. So that collection has attracted a lot of new clients because it's a newcomer in the integrated metal bracelet segment, but it's different as well, and it may have been a little polarizing at the beginning, where people they kind of you hate it, maybe you love it, but what is interesting is that those who hated it are starting to say, you know what, it's starting to grow on me because it's a complex watch, and that is really interesting because it's something which was new, and so that has become, like I said, a magnet to the brand, but then has made a lot of clients discover what Moser was and what Moser was offering throughout the 3 other collections. So
Okay.
I think it's a healthy situation because we're not dependent on one collection, and it's throughout the 4 collections that clients like.
Si ustedes no están muy familiarizados con esta marca, ellos sacaron un modelo, un Swiss Alp. Este modelo es idéntico, visualmente hablando, a un smartwatch que todo el mundo conocemos, que es el Apple Watch. Sin embargo, no tiene nada de digital, no tiene nada de esta tecnología electrónica, donde pues más bien es un dispositivo. Hemos hablado diversas ocasiones sobre el tema. Por acá te dejo varios links de varios videos que hemos hecho sobre smartwatch, sobre relojería tradicional versus smartwatch, pero fue muy disruptivo. ¿Por qué? Porque la gente que, bueno, además de que fue una pieza única, la gente que vivimos esta pieza fue como de, güey, es que estás trayendo un mundo en donde ya estás compitiendo de forma directa, hablando desde el término de diseño en relojería tradicional y mecánica. Esto fue lo que dijo, fue muy interesante.
One of the best, I think, accurate model right now in these years is the Swiss Alp watch. Which were the insights for this kind of creation? Because it's obviously which idea was behind of this design.
I think it all comes down to how is Moser able to talk about itself or about the brand without having huge financial power in order to, marketing, communication, advertising, etc. And it was taking a theme, taking a topic, a serious topic, and trying to talk about it in a fun way, even though there's a serious theme. And the Swiss Alp watch was our very first participation at, it was still called SIHH in 2016. And the idea was, you had a lot of journalists who are asking, is Moser going to come up with a smartwatch or a connected watch? And I said, well, no, I mean, we've got a full-fledged, vertically integrated production. We make, at that time, it was just over 1,200 watches a year. We make everything in the movement. Why on earth would we try to tackle a segment which is absolutely not our expertise or domain? The idea was to have this rectangular case which looked like a famous connected watch, but the idea was really to draw attention that, listen, we are in the mechanical watch industry, late 70s, early 80s. The Swiss watchmaking industry lost, I think, maybe 40,000 jobs. Let's just be careful on how we want to communicate. And we are mechanical, we're in-house, we manufacture, we need to stay in that domain. But it was a great talking piece. It went from
it was an amazing talking piece,
especially the film, the video was good, and then that continued, that led to different topics. The following year was Swiss made, with when we removed the Swiss made on the dials. We made a communication that we did not want to be associated to Swiss made because it was misleading to clients. So that we removed it, and in order to make even more noise, then we said, okay, we're going to have the most Swiss watch possible, and we wanted to use Swiss material. That Swiss material was obviously cheese, and so it was like a cheese resin for the case, and then there was a lot of communication around it as well, and it was called the Swiss Mad Watch. So it went from the most to British tabloids talking about this cheese Swiss watch, all the way to the Financial Times, and also very serious, because once again, there's a very serious aspect behind it, is that if companies are producing outside of Switzerland, they're doing it for a financial reason. They're doing it to gain margin points. But the biggest danger is if you're transferring knowledge and expertise outside of Switzerland, then just for those few margin points, then you're risking in losing young apprentices, that transfer of craftsmanship,
talent, yes.
Of talent. It's the loss of talent. And so that watch, the Swiss Mad watch, was then auctioned at Christie's for $125,000, and then the money was then invested or given to a foundation in order for training, in order not to lose the art of watch. So it's a serious theme, but we talk about it in a different way, and I think that talked a lot to a lot of clients where there's no, I can't say it on the video, but there's no marketing BS.
Yes, exactly.
And okay, let's the watch industry is, we talked about it before, is that it's still a very old-fashioned way of doing business. It's very opaque. It's not very transparent. But today you need to be. I think information is circulating all over the place. Clients can no longer be biased by a press release or by a marketing team. No, they understand. And
they Google and they search.
Exactly. And today you see there's so many cases where a brand says that it's manufactured, and then within a few hours, then you have somebody that says, well, no, look, it's in this watch, it's in this watch, it's in this watch, look at this, look at this, look at this, it's not manufactured. Why did they say that it's manufactured? And it's dangerous because it's the whole watch industry which is losing credibility. And I think the watch brands need to stick together. They need to stick together in order to be strong. We're fighting for space on the wrist. We need to stick together so that maybe younger clients, instead of buying a connected watch, then they can be interested. So, I'm appealed by a mechanical watch. So I think that a lot of clients, they appreciate this kind of energy that we have and the communication throughout the years.
I think, and it was very interesting to me, because what I see is you're not shouting what you do. You're not, as you say, doing marketing BS. The world is recognizing what you do, and that's what gives the most value. That you don't have to shout it to be like, hey, I am the best. You just are. And people are noticing it. And another thing you said, you described your watch as sexy. And I could have I cannot say it better myself. They are sexy. That's like the perfect adjective for the watches.
It's your second year here in Seattle. What do you think about that? Because we thought here in Mexico that it's the best place to get close with the brands. So do you have any comments about that?
We're more in touch with the market as well because we're smaller, and I think this is probably the biggest challenge that we have, especially for Moser, is trying to continue to grow while keeping this proximity with clients. In order not to lose touch, not to lose control, in order to understand, because the only success that we've had was as well with the feedback of clients. So the clients, they're our best ambassadors, and you don't need celebrities to be your ambassador. Our clients are the ambassadors.
I think that the customers now are the new influencers
Yeah.
in each industry.
La conclusión de esta marca es, como diría George, es una marca sexy, es una marca que seduce. Yo diría que es una marca que genera diferenciadores allá afuera. Para mí Swiss Alp lo dije hace un ratito, es una pieza icónica que se atreve a mostrar lo que generalmente en la industria relojera no sucede. Tampoco quiero decir que por eso ya de alguna manera excluimos a muchas de las otras marcas. No, simple y sencillamente conocer la historia detrás de la marca y entender un poco de cuál es su pensamiento y hacia dónde se quieren dirigir las miles de millones de marcas que pueden existir de relojes, también te abre la posibilidad de entender en que, a ver, güey, eso es algo que tú vas a abrazar y que va a generar que, pues al final del día, ames u odies a una marca. Yo estoy muy agradecido, George también está muy agradecido con Berger. Muchas gracias por habernos hecho partícipes de este momento. Ojalá hayas disfrutado esta entrevista. Déjanos comentarios, déjanos likes, déjanos dislikes, haz lo que quieras, es tu video. Y nos vemos la siguiente semana, relojeros. Yo soy H. Tolini. Bye bye.